If any of you guys are listening, the way the economy is going right now is a step to help you if you're capable, and a lot of people aren't capable of actually investing into your future right now.
This argument is literally such a meme that I was making this argument when Donald Trump announced his tariffs on a joke on my troll MAGA TikTok account, okay? I cannot believe that real humans believe this in a non-ironic, genuine manner.
I have a lot to say, but I'm not going to say it. But
why not? Why not? You have a mic. Why don't you say
it? I just feel that a woman shouldn't lead the country and a man should lead the country.
Go ahead and just tell us why you support Trump.
Because he's the GOAT.
Okay, why is that?
Because, man, he's trying to make America great again.
And how so exactly? Like, what is one thing he's doing to make? Well, actually, let me ask you this question: when was America great to begin with?
I don't know. It's great anyway.
So, but you told me he's trying to make America great again. So this implies that America was great.
He's going to make it greater.
Was it like during the Great Depression? Was that when it was so great? Is that what he's trying to make America like again? Well, he's actually doing pretty good at that, barreling America towards a recession, cutting trillions of dollars off the stock market.
It seems that way if you're broke.
What?
It seems to be that way if you're somebody that can't afford a livelihood that is the American dream.
You know what? This is great messaging. I think that you guys should really stick with this for the midterms and the next presidential election. Just like laugh at anybody that doesn't like a recession and call them broke. I mean, seriously, stick with this messaging. I mean, it is going to be phenomenal for you guys.
If any of you guys are listening, the way the economy is going right now is a step to help you if you're capable, and a lot of people aren't capable of actually investing into your future right now. It's because the stock market is not going to be as low as it is right now. And if it stayed low for 4 years, it's going to come back, guys. So if you want to look at your futures and try and invest a little bit, if you're able, and a lot of people aren't able, I understand this, but if you are able, right now is the opportunity for you to try and make some cash.
Dude,
or not cash.
So this argument is literally such a fucking meme that I was making this argument when Donald Trump announced his tariffs on a joke on my troll MAGA TikTok account, okay? What you're saying is that you actually think that Donald Trump crashing the stock market is a good thing because it creates an investment opportunity for the average American to scale their net worth over the long term, okay? That is absolutely just one moment. That is absolutely fucking diabolical. I cannot believe that real humans believe this in a non-ironic, genuine manner, okay? No. All right? Crashing the stock market is a bad thing, okay? And it also really hurts American industries and American manufacturing, as well as our labor force. People get fired, companies lose billions and billions of dollars. And I find this quite antithetical to what you and the rest of MAGA has agreed as a consensus of American first policy, which is building our labor force, building our industries, building our manufacturing. But just because Trump did it, Trump crashed the stock market, it must be a good thing. That is cult-like behavior.
I believe it'll come back.
I believe it will too. We're not going to be in a recession for the rest of eternity, but that doesn't matter because we could have avoided it by merely voting for Kamala Harris.
Yeah, and a lot of people did, but not enough.
Mm-hmm. So why do you think that Donald Trump is a good president?
I just feel like the direction that he's going ultimately will make America better.
Be more specific about that direction.
Getting rid of people that aren't here legally. Immigration, I'm not against. I just wish they would do it the appropriate way. I think Donald Trump is going to get rid of a lot of the people that aren't actually supposed to be here. Mm-hmm. I believe his tariffs can work in a sense of the turmoil that he has caused is allowing people that maybe have a bit of insight to invest some money while the stock. We've already went over this, so there's no reason to really talk about it. But there is room to make some kind of lucrative financial investments from Donald Trump's manipulation of the government.
Okay,
You know,
all right. I'm going to stop you there
manipulation.
so I can respond real quick. So you told me that you support Trump because he wants to do mass deportation and intentionally crashing the stock market. So I've already responded to the second point. I can't believe that that's a legitimate argument being made by a real human. That just fucking perplexes me, dude. But to respond to the first point, mass deportation is actually very harmful to America right now and in the future.
I'm not for mass deportation, Dean. I'm
the first
for.
reason that you told us why you voted in support Trump is to get rid of the people that are not here legally. That's a mass
Right.
deportation.
Well, I mean, what do you propose?
Mass
Give them
amnesty.
better incentives, or give them a more capable way of, if they're already here, let's go ahead and help them get through the ropes quicker.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think that we should offer every single undocumented migrant in our country that has not committed a violent offense a pathway to residency or citizenship. And the reason that I think that is because that ensures that we can continue to have this demographic of individuals who are productive providers into our economy, continue to function inside of our economy, continue to pay $100 billion per year in taxes, continue to serve as a huge demographic of the workforce that is propping up American industries, continue to increase GDP growth, and continue to embolden American industries on the large scale, while also looking after their humanitarian needs, so they can continue to live here in the States for the better life that they sought after to provide for themselves and their families, while also bumping average qualities of lives for everyone. I mean, I think it's great.
I can get on the same page as that. I believe if there was an easier way for the people that are already here to gain citizenship, that's a plus, as long as they aren't involved or had a recent history of some kind of crime. And I think that would help. But
Man.
a lot of people that voted for Donald Trump do not care.
So if you have a recent
They
history of crime, you shouldn't be able to become a citizen, but you should be able to become a president. That's hypocritical as shit.
Sure it is. Fucking felon, man. I swear to God. He's such an idiot sometimes. I don't even know what to say, man. People love him, and, you know, I feel like he's going to make America better, but he is a criminal. Hopefully he doesn't do too much more of that kind of stuff behind the scenes while he's in office, but he probably will.
Yeah, okay.
Probably for the people that are already
well
off.
Is there anything else that you want to discuss? Because you gave me two positions: mass deportation and then crashing the stock market. Those were two good things that you think Donald Trump has done. You just conceded on the first reason. Now you agree that mass deportation is bad and mass amnesty is good, holding a far left perspective. The only other argument that would prop up your perspective is that you think that Donald Trump is intentionally crashing
What
the
would
stock
you
market
like to
is a good
see
thing.
happen?
What would I like?
What
to
would
see
you
happen?
like to see happen with Donald Trump's presidency? It's not like he's going to be, you know, he's not going to
like
get
preferably
kicked
do
out.
nothing. I honestly would prefer Donald Trump to like just spend his days golfing and realistically do nothing compared to what he's doing now. Like, at least then due process of humans wouldn't be violated. At least then global markets wouldn't be going to shit. At least then, right, we wouldn't have innocent legal migrants from Maryland getting deported and housed in a jail cell in El Salvador with
Right.
no
I've
hope
heard a
to
couple
get them
stories
homes.
about people being sent to El Salvador or Guatemala or whatever it is that weren't actually supposed to be sent there. And that's not good. That's not good at all, you know. And
He could have just
you know,
what he should have done is what he did during his first term, where he just rode off the coattails of Obama's economy and passed some
Right.
shit policy. I mean, he passed tax cuts for the ultra wealthy, but I mean, that didn't just absolutely just destroy the country, right? In the sense of barreling us towards a recession, et cetera. But AJ, honestly, I don't really think that we're going to be able to have a super good conversation.
what's something worse that Donald Trump could do other than the turmoil that he's already caused,
Yeah, whatever.
in your opinion?
Honestly, the best answer to the question would be whatever the breaking news headlines are tomorrow morning. He tends to beat himself every 24 to 48 hours. So just check the headlines tomorrow morning, okay? But I guess we're gonna move on to the next guest. I do appreciate you for the question. Go ahead and take it away. You guys tell us why you support Trump.
Ashton, you go first. I'll let you go first, man.
Okay, so what I support Trump is that he did the colleges, HBCUs, and he did the First Step Act. What else he did? Well, that's about it.
Okay, so he decreased funding to HBCUs. So Obama gave HBCUs $2 billion every 4 years. So Donald Trump actually cut that down to $1 billion every 4 years, or $250 million per year. So he cut funding to HBCUs. And then Biden and Harris increased that to $4 billion every year, right? So what we see is there was some funding going to HBCUs under Obama. Trump cut it, and then Biden and Harris drastically increased it. So if you care about funding to HBCUs, a very obvious pick would have been Harris.
Well, I didn't like Harris because she's a scumbag. But
And why is that?
because she locked up a lot of black men in the 90s.
Okay, in the state of California, right?
Yes, and Joe Biden
Okay.
is racist. And
Okay, well let's talk about your first claim. So first and foremost, crime stats in the 90s from California, they actually didn't report race. Okay. Secondarily, when you're talking about how much convictions she oversaw during her presidency, and what the claim that you're specifically making what had to do with either the use or dissemination of the MDRUG, it was a total of 45 convictions. A disproportionate amount of those were for the dissemination of such. Meanwhile, right, she actually said in 2014 that we need to end the war on DRUGs. And then in 2018, she co-signed on legislation in the Senate to do exactly that. The only reason why her bill failed and the MDRUG is still federally illegal is because of Republicans like Donald Trump and his followers. So if you want to end the war on DRUGS, right, you need to vote against the Republicans.
so what about Biden, by his crime bill that locked up a lot of black men?
Okay. Well, I mean, that's bad. Obviously, that's racist. Obviously, I disagree with the crime bill. But I will just ask you, how does that relate to Kamala Harris? Because if your claim is that you didn't vote for Kamala Harris because of racism, well, it is the case that Kamala Harris is not racist and Donald Trump is racist.
Well, she's in her she's was with his administration.
Okay, and I mean, listen, I have an argument to demonstrate that Biden is significantly better than Trump in the context of racism, but I don't even need to give it to you because Kamala Harris is not Biden. And if your argument is, well, Kamala Harris was around Biden, well, Donald Trump was around, who is that child? Predator? Honestly, he's so, I just forget his name. Epstein? He was really good friends with Epstein and really good friends with Diddy. So can we say that because Diddy and Epstein were really bad people, that therefore Donald Trump is too?
In a way, but also Biden spoke at eulogy, also KKK.
Yeah, I listen, man. All of these arguments would be incredibly relevant before Biden dropped out and Kamala Harris ran. But Kamala Harris was the candidate that ran. Why is Kamala Harris more racist than Trump?
She's not racist. She just was.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, if you criticize,
damage.
condemn, and you want to vote against racism, you should have voted against Donald Trump. Since Trump was a racist candidate, Kamala Harris was not.
Well, he's not a racist.
He is
as
racist.
such,
He
but
called all black people lazy in 1991, and then he affirmed that that's something he said in 1997. He denied housing applications to black individuals in 1973, and then he said that Obama was literally not even born in America, that he was born in Kenya, and that everybody should literally vote against him, which is saying that this black man should not have a job opportunity because he's a black man. It's also the case that he called for the death penalty for the exonerated Central Park Five 10 years after their exoneration, and as well as he said that you could racially profile immigrants. You could just tell which ones are good and which ones are bad by looking at them. That's a quote coming from his interview with Hannity.
But Biden was a creep, and
You keep on going back to Biden. Kamala Harris ran, man. I'm telling you, I would happily have responded to all these arguments about Biden 6 months ago, dude. But it was Kamala Harris, dude. So Donald Trump was racist. Kamala Harris was not racist. Then you also said that Donald Trump wasn't racist. So do people that aren't racist just unapologetically be racist for half their life and then continue their racism today?
You have the right to change his mind.
Well, he hasn't. He hasn't changed. Not only has he been racist for half his life, he's also never held himself accountable for said racism, never apologized for said racism, and never tried to be actively anti-racist. In fact, he is still perpetuating racism until this day, such as by doubling down on him calling for the death penalty of the Central Park Five in his debate with Hillary Clinton in 2015, doubling down on saying that you could racially profile undocumented migrants, doubling down on saying that he wants to ethnically cleanse Palestinians from the Gaza Strip and give them no right to return, doubling down on regressive economic policy in which disproportionately disadvantages black Americans, as it is the case that black Americans have a lower socioeconomic standard than white Americans because of slavery and its aftermath. Yes, he is actively racist.
Yeah, and if I could jump in here, this is kind of the reason why I support Trump. I love Trump. I love racism. W Trump. This is all W Trump. Like, I don't see what the problem is here. 1,000-year Trumpenreich. Trump will be reelected.
Go ahead, Ashton. He just wants attention. So we're
Okay.
just not going to give it to him.
So-
Chat, I'm being so seriously. Like, people like that, like they're just seeking attention. They're racist, bigoted attention seekers that don't get attention from anybody else in their life. Their mother doesn't love them. Their father hasn't talked to them in so many years. Okay, they're self-proclaimed incels, right? Because for years and years and years since middle school, nobody has been wanting to talk to them or get in a 5-foot radius. They're just attention seekers. So just we're now just going to redirect our conversation back to action. So take it away.
Okay, so Kamala Harris is sometiming, like she flip-flops. One day she changed her mind, and one day she laughs a lot, cackling Harris.
Okay, so you are
And, like,
completely
she laughed.
changing the conversation. So I just want to clarify that we were talking about racism and how you don't think that Donald Trump was a racist candidate, and then I explained to you exactly how. And I just want to clarify that your response to me describing to you how you were wrong and it is the case that Donald Trump is a racist candidate is to say that she laughs a lot.
Well,
So I have a question. What's worse for America, a woman's laugh or a recession?
recession.
Yeah, that's what I thought, okay?
I have a lot to say, but I'm not going to say it. But
Why not? Why not? You have a mic. Why don't you say it?
I just feel that a woman shouldn't lead the country, and a man should lead the country,
Are you ready to just see like the most beautiful thing ever?
I guess.
Great, because I'm excited for this. Oh my God, watch this. Why are men better at leading than women?
Because in the Bible it says it's just a man should lead and the wife should just do wifely duties and follow.
Great. Well, in the Bible, it also says that slavery is okay in Leviticus 25:44 through 46, but that's neither here nor there, assuming the Bible's accurate, and there is a God that designed men to be better at leading than women, right? And he makes that clear to you through his testimony inside of the Christian Bible. That must mean that he designed men and women differently, all right? He created men with different biology, neuroanatomy, personalities, etc., compared to women that make men the better leaders. So what are the relevant differences between men and women that makes men better at leading than women?
Can you repeat that one more time?
Sure, of course. You're saying that the Bible says so. Okay, let's accept that. Let's accept that the Bible says that men are better at leading than women, and let's accept that the Christian God does exist, and that the Christian God designed men to be better at leading than women. What does this tell us? That God must have designed men differently than women to make them better at leading. So what are the differences in the quote-unquote design of men and women that make men better at leading?
Because it's just natural for a man to lead in.
Right. Well, the
woman
question is
should
why.
support.
The question is why. What are the biological differences between men and women that make men naturally predisposed to being better at leadership?
Because they're stronger and they talk better and they're just, I can't explain it, but it's just what it is.
I think it's funny that you, a man, say men talk better, and then women then say that you can't explain it. But going off of your first point that men are stronger than women, I don't think that physical strength has anything to do with leadership ability. And I'll demonstrate this to you. I have a question. Who's the leader, the football coach or the football players?
Can you repeat that one more time?
Who's the leader, the football coach or the players?
Well, the football coach,
And who's physically stronger?
the football players,
And who's the leader, the president or the Secret Service?
the Secret Service,
No, the president is the leader. And who's stronger? The Secret Service. In fact, can you name one structure of leadership that exists anywhere in the world that is purely determined off of physical strength?
Can you repeat that one more time?
Can you name one structure of leadership anywhere in the world that is purely determined off of physical strength?
Can you rephrase that?
Okay, there's structures of leadership in organizations, in companies, in nations, in military, in sports, in cooperatives, in any time that humans come together to do something, there's usually some type of structure of leadership involved. Okay?
Yes.
So name one structure of leadership anywhere in the world that is purely determined on the basis of physical strength.
Okay, you got me there.
All right. So physical strength does not make you a better leader. Okay, so when you told me that, well, men are better at leading than women because they're physically stronger on average, that point is now null. So, well, back to my main question, what are the differences between men and women that make men better at leading?
I can't answer that.
Okay, and you can't answer that because they don't exist. Okay, and why don't these differences between men and women exist that make men better at leading? Because men aren't better at leading than women. I actually very heavily, vehemently disagree with making such a broad, far-reaching claim about the generalized leadership ability of individuals predicated on their gender identity, because I don't think that one's gender identity tells us anything about how good they are at leading. That's like saying that people that tend to wear red shoes are better at leading than people that tend to wear orange shoes. It's just a completely irrelevant trait to leadership abilities. But if you had a pew-pew to the back of my head and I was being forced to make this evaluation, I'd say women are actually better at leading than men on average because the live just got banned. And now, where do we go from here? And the live got a 3-day ban for a guest violation for hate speech and hateful behavior. And that is just terrible. It's always when the guests are getting slammed by me. Yeah, I've actually recognized that trend too. Like typically the bans happen when I'm just absolutely cooking somebody. You know what I mean?